All right, let's get this show on the road. Today I'm going to be building a stand to hold the camera so that it looks down, to make it easier for me to film things that I'm doing in front of you. Since a lot of my videos are how-to, it only makes sense. So I thought I'd shoot a how-to video on how to make something that looks down for your camera. So let's get to it. Also, while we're making this video, I'm wearing sunglasses. I've got an additional light source. And I'm going to try out my tool I made and see if the cutoff wheel cuts. First things first, I've got to clean up the pipe I'm going to be using because we're making stuff out of PVC pipe. This pipe's been sitting in the barn for a while. And it is a little dirty. Like all of my projects, this one only exists in my head. First thing I would do is cut the old glue off and get a straight end. One thing I am doing is I'm creating a bunch of dust. It cut it off nice and clean. If I was going to describe this, you're going to have two legs with a support structure that goes between them. So I'm working on making the legs now. I'm going to use some T-junctions. And I'll put the T on the end. And this will end up being one of those legs. Okay, I've got this cut smooth. And I've got my T. That's as far as that T is going to go in. So that's about 10 inches from the center right there. And this is going to slide on the end. My cutoff wheel works. Now I'm going to need a second one cut to the same length. So I'm just going to use this and mark a spot.
Well, I'm really pleased the way this cutoff tool works. I converted an old skill saw to turn it into a cutoff tool.
There we have one. And there we have two. I did not realize for years, but you're supposed to shake the PVC glue.
Important to know that the white pipe is considered PVC pipe, so make sure you get the right glue.
And they never want to come open. My new pair of pliers I got for Christmas.
Plastic gray pipe is normally for electrical work, and the plastic black pipe is normally for wastewater. They take different types of glue.
The glue is mainly just to hold this in place, because we're not actually going to put pressure to it, water pressure. So I'm going to try to get some of the glue, excess glue off. And I'm just going to run a ring. And I'm going to turn this as I go. And I want to have the writing down.
A better way to say that would be I want the manufacturer's information pointing down so it's not visible when the project is completed.
Now the end cap goes on the end. I am going to use this and take off the lip. That'll make it slide in a little better. Yep. We're gonna do the same with this. I want the cap to be facing the bottom. So we don't need much glue, just a little bit of glue.
The PVC glue actually melts the plastic, so don't use so much that you'll leave puddles inside the pipe.
We're going to want to push this right on. It should go all the way in.
That extra piece of PVC pipe I'm using as a handle just makes it easier to line up the pipes as it gets slid in.
And we need 2 of these. We're going to put this one on. It's got a little tiny burr right there. Each time you're going to want to make sure there's no lips. This one seems to go on smooth, so I'm not worried about taking any burrs off. Just a little bit. There's 24, so it looks like it needs to be about 12.5 inches long. And that'll give me some to slide in to both ends. So 12.5 inches long. There is 12.5. If you wanted to smooth something like that out, you could do this. Do you see the way that smoothed it out?
On a project like this, the easiest way to make sure the 2 pieces are the same length is to use one as a guide.
I'm going to go a little farther to make my line seem a little straighter. Cut it again. Let's see how close these are together. Perfect. Same thing again, we're going to push it in, trying to get the writing up. Don't need a ton of glue. The glue is almost like a lubricant when you put it in. It really helps the pipe slide in. There you go, you should be able to see how that pipe is slid all the way forward. It's even bunched up some of the PVC that's melted by the glue. Same thing on the end. It's got a little bit of a lip around it. I got rid of the lip. And it slides on real easy now. And there's one of the legs. You could put glue on this pipe, but when you go to put it in, it's going to push all the glue up to the outside. I normally put glue on both ends if it was actually going to hold water. You slide a little bit out of this way. I'm done with my tees. I thought I was going to need something to wipe a bunch of glue off because usually I'm pretty messy with it, but so far it's been pretty good. If I measure the camera right now, the camera end is about 30 inches high and the camera base is about 28 inches high. If this is sitting on the table, then the camera will end up being mounted someplace up here. So once again, if I cut this, if I want it to be 14 inches high, I need to take into account that it's not going to go in all the way and that there's some on there. So that's 14 inches high right there. So let's just make it 12. I'm going to cut 2 pieces 12 inches long and 2 pieces 24 inches long.
You've seen me do this, so let's just move right along.
And I'm going to clean the ends up by rubbing them. Take our wet cloth and wipe everything up real good. Kicks up quite a bit of dust, doesn't it? That's why I'm outside today. So there's two 24-inch pieces, which I'm going to set off to the side. I am going to go get a sander so that I can sand this down some. This is 240 grit sandpaper, and I'm just going to go along each one of these edges.
This should make it easier for these pieces to slide in and out of the base. I've got two 12-inch and two 24-inch pieces to do, and this probably took about 30 minutes.
Wow. I was thinking I wanted something in the center that was 32 inches long. This is perfect. So these will be the legs, and this will be in the center. And I guess I could mark dead center. 31.5 means dead center would be 15.25. That's dead center. So let's take this off center by a total of, well, the power doesn't need to be in the center. That needs to be in the center, and the power needs to be off to the side. I'm gonna drill a hole and put one of those fancy little screws in there. I might have to go see if I've got a tap and die for that. I think they call that a tap. It should make those kind of threads by drilling this into something. Should just have to run it in.
This is the first time I've tried to tap a PVC pipe, and although it worked really well, it really didn't work.
Now, with any luck, this should just screw in. Unfortunately, the PVC is too soft. Just stripped it right out. My thought was to screw that in, and then I could screw my camera into it, but that's too wobbly. That would never hold. Never hold. My other option, well, what I plan on doing is putting one of these in there, because I know that worked fine. The downside is that's not the right shape.
DJI Pocket 2.
But I could make it fit. Or I could heat it up and bend it to the right shape. I think I'll do that. I think I'll put two of these side by side. So let me divide this in half.
I'm disappointed that my male-to-male camera mount screws didn't work. I was hoping to be able to use those in the future, maybe to add lights or something else to this bar.
Do the same thing again. So I'll put my camera in one, and I want a slot right next to it so I can use the power. So you can see a little indent in there? That's how far that can go. So how about if we go to about there?
Now I will just cut the pipe where I put the mark. Working with PVC pipe is really easy. Basically, it's just cut and glue, cut and glue.
I want to give this a minute to get nice and goopy and soft. And then I'm going to take a flat surface and I'm going to push it in. And then we'll put it on this flat surface. And that'll make sure that they're lined up exactly the same. So if I want this dead center, the easiest thing to do would be to measure this, and that's exactly 18. So now I can come over here and put a mark at exactly 18. Put some glue in here. Let me clean up my mess real quick. Okay, we got a few pieces out of the way. That's the bottom, because I'm gonna put the lettering down. That goes there. And these are gonna be the ends. Let's see, how wide is that gonna be? All said and done. 36, I want it 32. $16 and a half and 16 and a half. That's one thing nice about PVC. It's not terribly expensive. The fittings are expensive, but the pipe's not too bad. So I'm going to trim this down a little bit. I'm going to touch the ends up with a sander for a second. Now let's see. I want it less than 32, or that makes it 33. I think I'll stick with that. I'm going to put this in there as a reference. I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. Wipe that up. And this is the way this will work. I'll put that there. I'll slip that on. The other side. And that one goes on. And now my camera and a power source is in between. My problem in the past is that the tripod is in my way or the camera's in my way. But by doing this, it gets the camera out and I've got plenty of room to do stuff. And if I want the camera higher, I'll just make it higher. So I can assemble and disassemble that PVC pipe, making it higher or lower depending on what I need. The camera will be out of the way and I'll be able to use my hands. Should work out really, really well. All right, well that's it for this one. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. I gotta go put tools away.